Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been doing some different stuff with regards to, like, the email stuff is pretty straightforward. I haven't done any like huge emails or anything like that, but I have, continually using the email side of it, and I did do a landing page, and I'm just refining it, and so it's still pretty
Okay.
a little bit on the rough side, but I'm just as much as kind of concurrently, I've been watching a lot of videos on how to do effective, Google Ads, AdWords, and a lot of it comes down to the one guy that I've been watching. He's talked about, really the secret to the AdWords. One of the key secrets to the AdWords is effective landing pages. So so I've just been so the landing page I built. I put some. I've used the tool here, Wista or whatever, that Pardot's kind of a fan of to do some video, and I put a video on there, and I've got a form, and then I'm going to put a bunch of links to these these lists that I provide people, and if people go to my landing page, I'll let them download these lists and get some value out of the service that we have.
Good.
So yeah.
Good. So you created an autoresponder email?
No, you know what? I'm just going to.
No.
I can do that. I think, and I've got to practice the autoresponder emails. I've got, what I've been doing though is I just put a link to a Dropbox folder, and it's not the most secure thing, but it's an easy thing for me to start with. Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
And I've done some social posts as well, so it's a.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
You got the connector set up. Good.
Yeah, I got the connector. So the key is you can't set the connector up. I go to Pardot through my Salesforce instance. You actually have to go to Pardot through a browser to make it work.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, then.
So that's interesting.
Okay.
I just did it. What's today?
Good, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that all campaigns all the time. I did a post here this morning, and it's not showing up here, so I'll have to see what the deal is there, why that is. It's all campaigns all time. It should be there, and then social.
See page 1 of 2? 1 of 2 down the
one
bottom?
of 2. Oh yeah, there we go. That's why it's not showing up.
Page
Yeah. So here's an example. So what I figured out when I look at this is that so it does say clicks. I wonder if storage Pardot, that destination. I wonder what that is. That might have been. Oh, that's me posted with Pat Hines. But I think what they want us to do on these social clicks is the social posts is they still want a little pay, at the bottom of the post, have the ability to go in and click, back to a landing page or something like that, right? Because I don't think they're actually tracking, too much information. So if I go to my LinkedIn and I say, okay, here's my posts, and we'll just bring it. So this is the post that I put in there, right? And it's telling me, LinkedIn's telling me I got 41 views on this, right? Which is good.
Right.
But I think what they, to make Pardot really work is I have to insert something here, like it'll be like get full list of Texas producers or something like that. And then if people click on that, I bring them back to a landing page, and then Pardot can do its thing after that. So.
Yeah, it's not going to track views.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's tracking like scrolling in your feed, the views.
Yeah.
Probably. So yeah. So that's the best way to get the most of it, right? To have that down. Do you have that image on Pardot as a file?
Yeah. So I actually opened up a ticket. When you create it, you can do a couple things. Like you can, in the stream, you can just say, "Oh, go to my shared drive and then attach this file to it." But when I did it that way, it actually just put a URL in the post itself. So instead of the image being there, it just had like a link, and you'd have to click and see the image. But when I loaded it into Pardot and then attached it from Pardot, it shows up here this way.
Then it's displayed. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
But didn't upload it, right?
Yeah. So I just have to upload it, which is easy enough to do on that side of it. So.
Sure.
We'll see what kind of people are looking at my stuff here. Hopefully, people from Texas. Let's see. See, everybody from
Right.
most of my connections are from Calgary, but I'm trying to get a little bit more people. This is a Texas piece of data here, so it's a
Okay.
yeah. I'm trying to get more Texas views. So,
Good.
but yeah. So then I'll just show you real quick
Excellent.
here. So landing pages, and then Grand Prairie AdWord. So it's still got a lot of work to do on it, but so there's the form, and then there's the video, and then down here.
Great. Oh,
yeah,
it looks good.
yeah, I'm going to put some stuff down here. And this is
Consulting
that
partner.
Lista. So I'm going to buy a subscription to these guys because I'm going to use a lot of video. And what they give us is that they encode the video in a frame that can be posted in the Pardot. Is really what it comes down to. So it's
Okay. So
without
it looks
them,
better.
yeah, without them I couldn't put the video in. Is what it comes,
Okay.
or
I
more
see.
complicated.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I haven't worked a lot with video.
Yeah, it costs about $1,000 a year to get a subscription to these guys. But if you're going to do a lot of
Okay.
video, it's worth it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what did you put up there for your video? I'd be interested to see.
So
Was
yeah,
it,
this
is it like
this is just a following is a
what
brief
kind of a
overview of how Interlead for Salesforce
Okay.
works. The concept is pretty
does
straightforward.
it have sound or
We're
are
loading in.
you're
Yeah,
talking over this? This is like a demo of
yeah, fine. Like this is it talking right now. Though, so I'm going to stop talking. Let me know if you can hear it. In oil and gas accounts, well licensed, spud license, facility licenses. Could you hear that?
no.
No, okay. It's just because So yeah, no,
Sorry.
it's got.
Okay. So it's
audio.
you talking?
It's me talking. Yeah, and it's just the screen.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and then they could come in here and take a bigger picture, and it looks better. Takes a second
Excellent.
for the resolution to queue up, but
So did
eventually
you
it gets
do
good.
you have Google AdWords now? Did you get Google AdWords?
I've had it for a while, so I'm going to
Okay.
attach it to Pardot as well.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah. So it's
Nice job.
Yeah.
Good.
So one thing I'd like you to show me buttons. I've never been good at doing buttons, and then I want to we go through whatever you think we should go over. I think we talked about looking at the scoring side of it today, but I'll
Yep.
let you
Scoring and grading.
Okay.
Okay, so you want to learn buttons? What do you need for your landing page?
Well, yeah. Let's say that particular landing page. If I wanted to, let's go to this. So edit landing
Add a button to
page.
download something.
Exactly. So landing page content. I think that's it. There we go. Yeah. So if I said
Okay.
exactly that, if I wanted to put a button on here that says download,
Yep.
producer list right now, how would I do that?
Okay. Okay, so click on the area where you'd want the button.
So let's say that. Well, I've got a text box
Okay.
here, but
yeah.
I'll delete that.
Okay.
So let's say I want it just right here in this blank spot right here.
All right, so click on button up there.
Okay. So
Click on button.
Okay.
All right, so it opened up this sort of editor right there for
Yeah.
buttons, right? So if you drag button down, it's a drag, like you just drag it.
Yeah, let me just see.
There it is.
There we go. Okay.
There we go. All right. So now you've got, so you can double click on the button to change the name of it, like download file or whatever.
Okay. So let's say test. Okay. All right.
And you can obviously change the font and all that, but it should adjust if you increase the size of the button. But click on the button again. Double click on the button. So you've got your editor at the top for the button.
Yeah.
So you see where it says link?
Yeah.
So put in the URL.
Of the where the
Um,
file is.
Right.
Yeah. I guess the question is, like, if I load that file in the Pardot, can I put a Pardot URL file in there?
Yeah.
And have it download.
Right. Yes. Now, I have not played a lot with buttons, so I haven't tested this out, but I would assume you just take the link that the Pardot creates for that document, that file,
Right.
and and you put it in there.
Let me just see here for a second.
So it isn't that great, that user-friendly, but...
I'm just going to confirm and save that. And then if I come over here to content, files, I don't have any top 10, so they're all just images, but it should be able to download an image for me here. So that is the file right there. So if I say this well-drilled image, let's just come in here. So that's it. That's the, so I should be able to just take that, Control C.
Exactly.
And then come back here to landing pages.
Yeah.
And then click on.
So I'm sure you found maybe it's kind of helpful to have a couple of tabs open, and when you've got working in Pardot, so you can go back and forth.
Right. Yeah, I haven't done that yet, but I do that a lot in Salesforce. So yeah, I'll definitely start
same idea.
Start doing that there, and then come down here, go to test, and paste. Okay.
Or double. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So it's in there. So confirm and save, and then edit page. So there it is. And then
preview. Yep.
There it is. There we go. So
there you go.
And then they can just come in down here. There's nothing to download with this, but I could test that out. Okay, beautiful. All right. Well,
and it's nice because the color matches the theme of the landing page.
Right.
And it's such a generic theme that it kind of goes with everything. You know, you don't have to get crazy with branding colors.
Yeah.
I don't think, but.
No. Well, that's what this YouTube AdWord expert says, is that it's all about, really the success of AdWords. You know, he's a landing page kind of guru type of thing, but he said it's just like, what Google takes a look at is your conversion rates, right? And, so if somebody comes to that landing page and they go there and then they leave right away, well, Google doesn't like that. So they're not going to work too hard to get your ad out there, right? But if people come in and they go to that landing page and they stay a little bit, then Google says, yeah, this is a really good landing page. And then they, and then you could say that, let's say a bid for that AdWord might be $1, and you say, oh, I only want to pay 60 cents. Google will actually take your 60-cent bid and put it above the dollar. And let's say your competitor bid $1.
Oh, right.
The landing page was crappy. Because your landing page is better, Google says, hey, forget the 40 cents. We want more people. We want more eyeballs, and we want one-time revenue, right? And so you'll actually do better with a 60-cent page than your competitor does with a $1 page.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
That's what this guy's saying. Anyway, it makes sense.
Well, and it's right, though. And you did a good job because you're keeping it very simple. You're very targeted. And you have this simple, short little video, and you've got a simple form. Colors are easy on the eye. I think it looks good.
Okay, great.
So, good. I'd be interested to see it. So, when will it come out? Like, what keywords?
So it's for me, and I'll send it to you. I'm very niche-y, so it's a geographic area in Canada called Grand Prairie. And this particular campaign is related to Salesforce. So it's really anytime anybody in the Grand Prairie area puts the word Salesforce in, or Salesforce CRM,
or CRM.
Salesforce consultant, then that's what I wanted to show up there. So
good.
So my stuff is I do a lot. That's the thing about oil and gas. A lot of it is in small towns. So I'll do a lot of stuff that's a lot of landing pages that's very geographic focused. So what I'm going to do is the lists that I give people off of that page are going to be, so I know all the oil and gas companies that operate around the Grand Prairie region. So when they go to the page, like that video, I actually talk about selling in the Grand Prairie region, and then the the list that I give away is going to be specific to Grand Prairie.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
you really understand your industry.
Well,
so then you can demo this to those clients and say, look, this is what I can do for you, and
that's it.
We can do this for you. Right. Excellent.
So I do, I've got a prospect too that And it was exactly that. So this is a company that builds like modular structures for the oil and gas industry. They've invested in Pardot, but I don't think they're doing a very good job of using Pardot. And I think part of it is training, and then the other part is they need some strategies. So I've got talked to that guy yesterday, and then as soon as I get a couple of these campaigns working, I'm going to come in and do a deeper dive with them on Pardot. And then if I identify that they need some training, then I'll, right away position that, hey, I've got a trainer that you should use. So got this little way to see,
yeah. How do you want to work that? Like if they decide they want some training and you want to have me do it, or I assume that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Did you want to just bill that, like charge them like I do, like the $2,000, or you can charge them $2,500 or $3,000, and then I can just bill you the $2,000, or do you want me to just do it independently?
Yeah,
you can get a cut of it.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know. I'll have to kind of figure out. Like mostly, like today, when I go and somebody signs up for Salesforce, they pay Salesforce directly, and then they pay me for my service. And I'm not really reselling anybody's service per se. So I think, I think it would be better, and I think, when we look at the training side of it, if I get you in on the first one and then they come back and say, we want a bunch more training, I don't necessarily need to make money off of that stuff. So I think for the first couple, what we'll do is I'll get you, and I don't want to, I don't need to make a ton of dough off it. So I'll get you to go in.
No, but you want to get something.
Yeah. I think if you go in and you charge an extra $250, and then you can just pay me $250.
That sounds great.
Yeah. So whatever you want to charge, whatever you decide, and then just understanding that you got to pay me $250 so you can figure out what you need to charge for the training appropriately. And I'll do
that sounds good.
Yeah, and then if they come back and say, okay, this is awesome, we want more advanced training from you, then you don't have to pay me for that. We'll just do a lead generation on the quick start stuff. And then if you go in and do advanced training, you just have the relationship with the customer, and I don't have to be involved on that side of it. Yeah.
Okay, sure, that sounds great. And I also do Salesforce too, so if you ever find you need more help, if you just don't have enough hours in the day, if you want to, I work with a lot of different partners like yourself, and they usually send me a subcontractor agreement, and then I act as if I'm an employee, and then I do the training and just bill them.
Yeah. Okay.
So that.
Awesome.
But, yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Well, why don't we get started on today's agenda, which was scoring and grading.
Okay.
Does that sound good? Is there anything else or you know what we could cover first, I think is more interesting that you'll really like, is the page actions.
Okay.
Did we cover that last time? I don't think we did.
Not sure, yeah.
Okay. So page actions are we'll start with that. If a prospect goes to a specific page on your website, like your pricing page or whatever, and you want to be notified that they went there,
we did do page actions last.
We did that last time. Okay, it's coming back to me. Yes, we
did. It is working for me.
And it's working. You got it to work.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Excellent. All right, so let's go to scoring. So if you go down to admin, so the first thing you need to do is set up your scoring rules from a high level, and you go to automation settings. So you have we went over page actions. So we'll go to scoring.
Okay.
And Pardot out of the box comes with a general scoring module for different activities that the prospect has. So if you can see here, we didn't go over custom redirects, but with email opens, you get 0 points because it's not really a relevant number. But file access, so if they download a file on any of those landing pages, they'll get 3 points added to their score. And then it goes down here, all these different activities: form error, form handler submission. They get 50 points, etc. Now, you can change these, or what I normally recommend for clients is to stick with this and try it out and see if it works for them. So go ahead and click Edit Scoring Rules at the top.
There we go.
And kind of scroll down a little bit. So these are the scoring rules at the bottom, but at the top you can pick which one you wanted to edit. So let's say Opportunity 1, you wanted it to be 100 points.
Right.
You could
put that in there, and then that
exactly
on that side of it. Okay.
And then you change it. But like I said, I recommend that these tend to work, and unless there's something in particular. And plus, on a specific activity, like if somebody fills out a form, a specific form, you can even increase further on the form as a completion action. So this is where that's managed, though, on a high level. So go ahead and click Cancel out of here. And so when let's go to forms, and we'll talk about completion action. So on the form, wait, just a sec. When a form is submitted, you see on the scoring in the background there, it says form submission, 50 points.
Yeah.
So anytime a form is submitted, no matter what form, it will add 50 points to their score. But you can add, say, another 10 to that for a specific form. So if we go to marketing and go to forms, we'll do that. And let's say it's the Canadian, one of these forms. Any of them.
Okay. Edit it.
Yep. So, and go to completion actions on the wizard there. And scroll down. So, and click Add New Completion Action. So one of the completion actions, if you open up that little tick box, is Adjust Score. So for this point, it says points beyond the default score value. So one of the default score values was 50 points for submitting a form. So if you put another 10 here or another 50, then that score, if they fill out this form, would go up even higher.
Right. So it's a more valuable form on that side of it. Okay.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
All right.
All right. So I guess the question here. So I'm getting all the scoring stuff. Where does it get analyzed? Like, so
where does it show up?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like if they talk about, okay, you've got the threshold. You got let's say a user's come in and he's hit 3 different properties and he's accumulated, 150 points in score.
Yes. And let's say at that point, that's when you want that lead, that prospect, to go to Salesforce as a lead. So that's your threshold. 150 points is when they're a sales qualified lead. So that's, well, there's a couple things. I want to show you where it shows up on the prospect record. So let's go to prospect list. And
so yeah, some of them have, because I imported these guys. A prospect list, yeah.
So you have 507 points. You're a sales qualified lead.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. So that says all prospects? Filter Pat Hines. So if you created this month, did you type that in, or was that?
No, I must have done it.
Yeah,
I didn't put that in there.
Okay. Maybe when you were looking
just say leave it blank and say go. There we go.
Yep. There you go. So you see those scores up there, like negative 150. So let's click on, say, the first one, Ben. Why is his score negative 200?
Because I've lost opportunities with them, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's all
So
opportunity stuff. Yeah.
yeah. So you could change that lost opportunity, you know, to 0 or whatever if you wanted to reset them. But so now, so that's where the score shows up. Now, if you wanted to say, all right, if they have a score of over 150 points, assign them to a user, you would do that under automation rules. So let's go and do that. That is under admin, automation, is it? No, sorry. It's under marketing, and automation. So this is the power of Pardot, this automation rule. You can have these rules running continuously and always checking your database for prospects that meet certain criteria. So in this example, let's click Add an Automation Rule. This can be used for a whole host of things. You know, it's like anything in, you know, workflows and process builder in Salesforce. So this automation rule would be, just call it test, but prospect with a score over 150, we'll call it. And I usually start off with actually a 100-point score kind of as a threshold, and then they can adjust these as scoring is kind of something they'll need to pay attention to over time to figure out what's a meaningful score to them. So you name the automation rule, and then the rules are down below. You have rules, and then you have actions. So the rules, where it says match type, match all means and statements, you know, is greater than 150 and has a country of Canada or whatever. Match any are or statements. So in this case, we'll say match all, because we're just going to do a score greater than 150. So click Add New Rule. And new rule groups are if you have rules that are or statements, you know, is in the state of Texas or Montana or what, you can create a group, you know, sort of a sub-rule. But so then if you open up the little pick box, the match all would be where these are all different options you can run off of automation rules. So you can run off of fields, status, CRM statuses, and we're going to go down to prospect score. See that? Yep. Prospect score is greater than 150. And then the completion action would be assign the prospect to a user. Then it has the option to execute in real time, so it would happen immediately, and obviously Pardot doesn't want you to do that because it slows down the system. So we don't usually check that off. So then you click, once it saves, click Create Automation Rule. And it saves them in pause mode, so it doesn't run it yet. But once you can go over to actions, yep, and unpause. Resume.
I guess, yeah.
Yep. So now, as soon as a prospect gets that score over 150, the user is going to be assigned to you, because normally prospects don't have any users assigned to them in Pardot until something happens. And then that prospect will now, as soon as they reach that score, they're going to go over to Salesforce as a lead.
So I guess, is that something I might have been doing wrong? So I've gone, like, let's say, let's just take a look here. So if we go to forms, and you know, I go to this drilling one here, and let's just see, created by, updated by, let's just edit the form, completion actions, and so that's that. If I come down here, completion assigned to users, notify user. So you're
Yep.
saying
So in
that I shouldn't do that here. I should do it
well,
on the other.
yeah, it depends. Ideally, you use the scoring method to do the assigning, but in smaller companies, a lot of times they want to have you, like you want to know immediately if somebody fills out a form, right? That's a sales qualified lead to you. Whereas a much larger company that has much higher volume of forms being filled out, this helps them to kind of sift through all those forms and say, okay, we only want to be notified of the people that are truly interested in our product.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, it depends on the company. Somebody like you, I would, I'd still use it.
Well, I'm going to mistake on the side. I'll make the mistake of, like right now, I just don't have enough activity, so it's worthwhile for me to see what's going on real time. But hopefully, through all the landing pages and stuff like that, you drive more activity. Then the other option is a better way to go there.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you could say in the automation rule, and there is no assigned user on the lead prospect.
Right.
Because it could be like a sort of a catch. It catches prospects that you might have missed.
Okay.
All right. So does that make sense?
That does make sense. Exactly.
Good.
All right.
So that's scoring, and then you have what's called grading, right? So scoring is their interest in you, and grading is your interest in them. So the first thing with grading can be quite complicated, especially for these companies where the users are not technical at all and have a hard time grasping complex ideas, but you'll pick this up quickly. So grading, if you go to, go to admin, I always forget exactly where it is, admin. There's a couple of different parts to grading, and go to automation settings. I think profiles are there, right? No, they're not. All right, go back to marketing. Sorry. And go to, down to, I think it might be under, we're looking for profiles. I think it's under segmentation.
Profiles, yeah, there it is.
There it is. Okay. So every prospect defaults to a score of a D, and it doesn't show on the prospect's record until something happens, whether that their score goes up. So here is where you define what their persona, what is your ideal customer. So let's click create ad profile up at the top there. So this is going to be your company's ideal client, ideal customer.
Okay. So, right. Okay.
So this would be for a letter, an A grade. So this would be, like the profile would be, let me think. There's different ways you can do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So just let's call this A then, I guess, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Would you put it in the name as A?
Yeah, A customer.
Okay.
So say A customer. Okay, so the criteria, what are we going to build your customer criteria? You know what, just let's call this, to keep it simple, let's just call it ideal point customer.
Customer, there we go, okay.
Okay, so down here you're building out your criteria. So what would your ideal customer be? Their segment is oil and gas, right? Their title.
Yeah, oil and gas services would be, so it'd be like, say, industry maybe, right?
Yep.
Industry.
So industry. And then the grade adjustment would be, we want it to go up one letter grade. If you wanted to really get into
Right.
C minus, C plus, you could do 1/3 and 2/3. I like to stick with whole letter grades for simplicity. So then the second one is title, right?
Yeah, for sure. And then I'd bring it up one. Okay.
What else? We want to have at least 3.
Add title. So we got industry, title, and then location.
Location, right? Perfect. And is location based off of city or state or country?
Yeah, well, most likely like city, I would say that
Okay.
right now.
Okay,
yeah.
so let's say location dash city.
Okay.
A little easier to focus. Okay. And then you click create profile.
Okay.
Okay. So every prospect, Chart comes with a default profile, and automatically prospects are assigned to that. But I like to create your own and then move those prospects to the right profile. So the next thing you do is we have to create automation rules that assign the grade to the prospect. So this is where we'll break it out into A, B, and C. So the first automation rule, let's define what an A client, A customer is. So your A customers. Okay. So the rule, let's go down to, we want to say match all, because we want to use, for an A customer, we want them to have the right title, industry, and city. So we're going to use match all. So click add new rule.
And then these are fields here then, I guess, right? So
Exactly.
So the first one I
contact
said, prospect title.
There's a default field. It's a prospect default field.
Prospect.
They break it out into, they break it out into custom fields and default fields. So,
all right. And then
first one was
territory title is what I want.
And it says job title, I think.
Oh, yeah, job title. That's, there you go. Contains, and then,
and this is where you get into rule groups. So do you want it, you want it to contain sales? You don't care if it's VP or C-level or anything like that?
Yeah, right now we leave it this way, and I think I could tone it down a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. So you could create a rule group.
So,
go ahead.
Let's just say, I could do a group. Yeah, let's do that as an example. So add a new rule group.
Yeah.
And then match all or match any, I guess.
Match any. Yep.
Match any.
So is it president or, and then it's safest to create these rules separate instead of using commas and quotes in one to save time. It's, So we're the job.
This is for A, president. So,
right.
Let me see.
Change president.
Okay. Whoops, president. Get that right. Add new rule. And then prospect field default. Job title. Contains vice or VP. There we go.
So you could go on and on here, right?
Yeah, on and on here. Yep. Nope, I got that. So yeah, and then, so once I've got to that point, new action. How do I save this group?
Oh, let's
that in the garbage.
Hold on. There you go. So let's do. Let's delete that first one that says prospect default at the top before you did the rule group.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's your, and then we want to, so that's your job title group, and then you have add new rule. We don't need a rule group for industry, right?
Right. Yeah, so this is
do we?
A groups.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did industry, and then I did Oil and gas. Oh yeah. So let's just see here. So
So
add
add
new
new rule. Yeah.
rule, right?
Yep.
And then here it was the default prospect default field,
Hmm.
and then industry
And that
contains
has
and
to be on the prospect level. So if industry is at the account level, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. So that won't work then, I guess, right?
So
So
go to let's do open up where it says prospect default field, and we'll go to prospect account field.
prospect, okay, prospect default, prospect account field. There we go. And okay.
Industry, and you want to say industry is. So these are all your
Yeah. So for me, it's
go
going
to
to be line of
industry.
business.
Oh, line of
And
business.
then
Perfect.
I could add a bunch
I,
of them in there I wanted to, or I could
well,
go
hold
industry.
on.
Okay.
Is that a pick box? Is line of business a pick list?
No, it's a text. It's a text box.
Oh, okay. See, if it was a pick list, you would use is, and then it would list your pick list.
Right. Right. Okay. This one is. I'm going to go back to industry. So and then the is, and then it's kind of weird for me, but this is just kind of there we go. All right.
Yep.
That's what I would do there. And
Exactly.
then the last one was add new rule, and again, I think like I don't have addresses for all the contacts, but I do for accounts. So I would go
Okay.
prospect account field, and then I would say billing, whatever city contains Calgary.
Exactly.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, so there we go. That's
Okay.
there's my A list.
This is your ideal customer, right? So we're
Yeah,
going to say, now we're going to do your action. We have to assign them that new profile, all those prospects that new profile. So the first thing is add new action and assign, it says change prospect profile.
Change prospect profile. There we go. Ideal customer.
Yep. And then there's one more action. Click new action and open up the pick box.
Okay.
And go down. Hold on. Change profile criteria.
Change profile. Change profile criteria.
Okay. And open that up, and you'll see as we go what this is.
Ideal customer.
Yep.
Then it's
And
asking for one of the
title.
title.
So industry. You got to do each one of these. So title matches.
Okay.
You want to
Okay.
say matches.
And then I have to do it. Add a new one then, I guess. Right. Let's see.
Yep.
Add new action.
Mhm.
Change profile criteria. Ideal customer. And I did title, so location matches. And add criteria, profile customer. And ideal customer, industry, matches.
So what that will do is increase it the letter grade on those prospects. So you have to do both. You have to change their profile and their criteria here.
Okay,
And
so
then go ahead and
just
run
gonna
the
look
rules.
at this. Yeah. So first, I
Yep.
just come in and I say this was a group that I just
Yep.
decided to go with, and then I added some more based on the three criteria there, and then my actions starts with it has to go to ideal customer, and then the things that are associated with it. Okay.
Exactly. And then you create automation rule. Yep.
Okay.
And it's in pause mode.
And then I can run it if I want
To resume it. Yep.
So while that is going, I'm going to come over here. Test score 100. And so here's the guys here that matched 100 on that side. For whatever reason, does it tell me? I wonder, like if I click on one. So let's go take a look at Jeremy and see why Does it? Where would it tell me why he is? There's the
Over
score.
to the right. Yeah, you see his score's 150. So it says showing 5 rows of 6. So you got to see the next one.
Right.
You show.
There it is. You got a minus.
There it is.
But
He lost 150.
But he's won some stuff.
But then,
yeah. Okay. So it was just based on new opportunity, just all the stuff that that we've won with him on that side. Or that could go down here, it'd be easier. I think. Oops. And then previous. There we go. It's too bad they didn't allow you to just click on that to do a filter, right? It's the. So I lost.
Well, up at the top, let's right to see if you can sort on that column.
Yeah, I don't think.
And then, well, any type. Let's see. What does that say? No.
It would just be. I could say opportunity.
Opportunities.
Yeah, and that.
And what does category say? Yeah. What does the category say up there?
Any category. Yeah, any category.
Any category. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Just say form.
So now let's go over to Jeremy. You see where it says overview lists profile? Let's go to profile. Every prospect has a profile.
Every prospect has a profile. There we go. Okay.
So by default, they're attached to the default profile, but we ran that automation rule. You see it says profile criteria default.
Right.
If this guy fits into that criteria, his profile will be that, what does it say, ideal customer. And
right.
it will, and over to the right, it'll say grade adjustment. It'll say match. It'll be a thumbs up next to each of the different criteria, those 3 things we built in there.
Okay, cool.
All right, and then on the overview, you can see their letter grade. Yeah. So then the automation rules, we need to build out the B and the C automation rules.
Right.
What is a B grade and what is a C grade?
Yeah.
So you need to think
I'll
about
fool around.
defining that.
I'll fool around with that and think about it. Yeah, that's actually the customer that these Horizon guys. He said, "Oh, I'm getting lots of leads from one product line," but he said he needs to filter and nurture, right? So I think this is, obviously, grading them, and then kind of gives you some ideas of what you want to do. If the A guys, this is what we want to do, and the B guys, this is what we want to do, so on and so forth.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And another way to handle nurture in Salesforce is if you're working a contact and you've talked to them on the phone and they said, you know what, call me next year or call me in 6 months. You can put them into a nurture campaign in Salesforce. You could have a status field and change their contact status to nurture. And then you could run an automation rule that says all prospects that have a nurture status, add them to a list. And then you can do things off of those lists under Engagement Studio, like a nurture campaign. So that's another way to use automation rules.
On that side of it, okay. Yeah, it's powerful stuff. You could spend,
it is.
And it's not.
And as you can see, some people, how your clients are. They're not very technical, and that's why they need you. So some people don't understand this piece, this grading piece.
Yeah.
Kind of a little more complicated than it should be, actually.
Art, not a science, right? I mean, it's a bit of it is art, right? It's like, a lot of people don't grab the concept of personas, right? I mean, so fundamentally they don't really get that. So this is taking personas to the next level. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but you know your customers and what they're able to do. All right. So, is there anything else? So your homework would be to do the B and the C grade and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, then it's something to do with the data and the automation rule and the criteria.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, I will do that for sure.
Okay. So we'll